The song of the Sibyl. It comes from the Elder Edda. Heidi men call me when I come to their houses. 9 worlds I know, and 9 roots of the tree. I knew time when Ymir was alive, and there was nothing, no surging surf or bright gold sunlight, only darkness and the grinning void. The great sons of Bur, they changed all that, built up a Middle-earth, moulded it with magnificence. And in the south they set the sun, and in the north the moon, and green grass grew on the craggy hillside. But the moon did not know what power it had, or the sun what course to keep, so the great gods gathered in council. The midnight they named, and the midday, and the mid-afternoon, midweek and midsummer, to mark the passage of the years. And then the great gods rested on the bright green grass that they themselves had made. Well, the fates I fathom and further can see. So, would you know more? The first war I saw, when heaven was assailed by the fierce Fanes, who forced through its plank wall and carried battle to the bright fields of Gladsheim itself. Then the great gods gathered in council to find out who tainted the air. Odin's maid, they promised them to a giant. Seldom now the Thunderer can sit as he hears the story of how that giant he slew in a fierce, treacherous fury, and so broke oaths, binding oaths, holy oaths, and so the world founded. 3 giant maids I saw come from giant land. Their names known to everyone here: Erd the first, then Vivantis, scorer of runes, last Skald, last of the Norns. Past, present, and future, they started to weave the fates of gods and men, elves and giants. Well, the fates I fathom and further can see, so are you going to know more? I see Boulder stand bright upon the plain, as the hand of Hodi holds the golden bough, by which in all innocence it draws back, by which the bright god will be brought down. Later, I see in hell there lies Loki, bound under the drip, drip, drip of the serpent, while by him sits his sad-eyed wife, doing what she can to help him. But elsewhere, I've heard there is a crone who's given birth by a crag to a monster that will one day devour the sun. Loud Garm is howling at Gnipa's cave. The fetter will snap, the wolf runs free. The fates I fathom and further can see. So, are you going to know more? Brother will slay brother at that time, and sister-son be at strife. Evil will be on the earth, an age of whoredom, of sharp swordplay, of shield swinging, an axe age, a wolf age, ere the world founders. No man will show mercy to his fellows at that time. Loud at last surge the surging surf, for ringing true has sounded the knell of fate, for Heimdall has winded his horn. The fetter has snapped, the wolf's run free, the death of gods, invincible gods. Well, the fates I fathom and still further can see, so would you know more? Odin will consult Mimir's head one last time ere he is swallowed by Surt's king. In the east, Thrym straps on his great gold shield, while from the squirmiest sea the great serpent finally arises in a fierce fury. And then as the pale eagle flies, the one that stalks for fish, with a wild shout the bold Nagfire is loose, with Loki at his prow, and with him children of darkness, doom makers, oath breakers, children of demons, allies of the wolf, all those who would Blysteir's brother follow. What of the gods, what of the elves, the gods in council, giant land in uproar, the dwarves mourn by their halls of stone. Then from the south, Surd finally comes, his great sword a poisoned brand to burn the gods. Crags topple headlong, the heavens explode in war. Frigg will feel the stab of grief as the killer of Bele battles with Surd. Odin will die in Fenris' jaws. Then the valiant sons of the Valfather, Valdar and Vali, will vie for each other in vengeance. Valdar will slay the son of Kevdung, while Vali will battle the wolf himself. But elsewhere on the field, a disaster. The world protector has fought the serpent, killed it, and been caught in its ruin. 9 steps back, doomed and dying, Thor the immortal finally falls. Then blood is the portion of gods, and death the portion of man, and fire the portion of the world. For Surt will take the world and set it ablaze. I saw the sun turn black, the spring after, and fall once more beneath the sea. And there is nothing once again. Well, the fates I fathom, and yet further might see. Would you know more? I see the world rise a second time. There are bright green oceans over bright green hills over blue oceans, and the great ones come back once more to their kingdom. There is blind Hoddy and Muddy and Valdar and Valley, and before them all becomes Boulder, back from the dead to govern in Odin's stead. And rare and wonderful, the gods find golden chess pieces that they had owned in former times, until from the east a black worm flies, and on its back a single naked corpse. And now I sink. That was world creation and world ending Viking style Ragnarok.
The Song of the Sibyl. And you are listening to Widsith and Deor present on Phonic FM at 106.8, online and obviously on the dial.
And we have been introducing, over the last hour, our book, Porlock the Warlock, the book that we will serialise over the next few weeks or months, reading 5 minutes at a time. My good colleague Widsith will now tell you a little bit about Porlock, her book.
Porlock the Warlock and the Indigo Swan by S.P. Wolfland, and it's a historical time travel adventure, and that's putting it baldly, for everyone with a reading age of over 11 really. And Porlock lives on Dunkery Beacon on the top of Exmoor, and when his quiet life is invaded by the return of his mischievous twin wards, Vag and Rag, collectively called the Mixies. And they go and see an old friend who sends them on a quest to find a feather of the mythical Indigo Swan. And this is a journey which takes them on a trip through the solar system to the Moonchild, where they meet the fifth-dimensional swan, who strikes a hard bargain with them. They can have a feather, shed only 1 millennia, but only if they agree to destroy the only record of it in written human history. So back they go to the 2nd millennium BC Mesopotamia to seek and destroy a tablet from the Epic of Daimonos, which is the Epic of Gilgamesh, and where Porlock has to fight a magical scientist duel with an ancient Babylonian priest. Vag gets thrown to the lions, then they get catapulted forward in time to Anglo-Saxon Exeter to hunt for the feather now used as a quill and the stolen Exeter book, where their search takes them to York, where Rag gets kidnapped and a deadly confrontation with savage Vikings ensues. Will they manage to break the clay tablet and find the swan's feather and save the Exeter book? Tune in each fortnight to find out in Porlock the Warlock and the Indigo Swan, the radio serial.
Do you want to begin then?
Well, this is episode 1.
It starts, as with the best of children's stories, like The Wizard of Earthsea and The Hobbit. It starts more childish than it carries on.
And then it kind of, it takes up kind of page 30 and onwards, which, like The Hobbit and The Wizard of Earthsea, both of whom were some of its inspirations. I'm not claiming it's anywhere near as good as those, of course, or in any way similar to them.
Right.
Oh dear, but it does follow that pattern of getting more serious later on. Chapter 1. "All right, for heaven's sake, I'm coming," shouted Porlock the Warlock up into the darkness. A distant bell had rung, the nearest one to where he now was in the corridor outside his study. He wondered who could be ringing so frantically. He toiled up the long, shadowy passages and finally came at last to a hidden alcove. He drew aside the curtain of tangled but very clean and unlit-filled vines and ivy and opened a door in the rock, all the time the bells still clanging wildly. and out onto the sunny portals she looked, the moor rolling away before it, and who should be standing there but a pair of upright, almost identical figures, somewhat on the short side, dressed in leather breeches and cotton tunics, hats at crazy angles, dusty shoes, and with impossibly wide and hilarious grins on their almost identical faces. It was the Mixies. "Well, hello, Porlock, here we are again, we're back," they chorused. So you are indeed. Well, you'd best...